Hello, it's David with the Price Group at Coldwell Banker, and today I wanted to talk about, are all realtors equal? And the answer to that question is simply no. Here in the state of Florida in 2020, every 100th person has a real estate license. So there's a lot of people out there practicing real estate. And some of these people are excellent real estate agents. They have a great knowledge of not only their market, they understand the purchase contract, they understand all of the pitfalls and the hurdles that we face going from contract to closing. So let's talk about that for just a second. In order to become a real estate agent, you can take a 63-hour training course either in class or online at your own pace, and then you take a final exam with the training company, and then you've got a state exam to pass. So really in a couple of weeks, less than a month, you could be a licensed real estate agent. And what you're going to learn in that class is really all the things that you shouldn't do, but no training on the purchase contract that we use, the listing agreement that we use, how to market yourself, how to understand the psychology of negotiating a contract, and all of the pitfalls that happen during the contract process and negotiation process. The second thing that I want to talk about is different companies out there. There are hundreds of different real estate firms. Some of them large companies like Coldwell Banker, which is the company I work for, Remax, Keller Williams. There are a lot of good companies out there that offer great training programs. So if you become a real estate agent, Coldwell Banker wants you to go through their university where they teach and train you how to write a contract, how to negotiate, all of the pitfalls that generally will happen along the process, from inspections and how to negotiate, appraisal issues, financing challenges, all the way to closing, as well as dealing with the title company and the lender. Some things that you want to consider when looking to hire a real estate agent is, how long have they been in business? What kind of training have they had? How many transactions have they done in the last 12 months? So it's great that somebody has had a real estate license for 3 or 4 years, which means they should have had a lot of experience at that time, but the average real estate agent, according to the National Association of Realtors, sells just 8 homes a year. Now, I'm not sure that if I was selling my home, I'd want to entrust a real estate agent that hasn't sold homes in my area and hasn't been in business for at least enough years where they've got 10, 20, 30, 40 transactions under their belt in a short period of time, because the real estate contract that we use here in Florida is changing almost every year or so with new language. Every time there's a lawsuit, we add a paragraph. So when I started selling real estate in 1998, it was a 6-page purchase contract. Today we have a 12-page purchase contract and then a slew of different addenda that go along with that. So not all real estate agents have the same amount of knowledge base, and if they're not writing contracts constantly, keeping track of all of the changes and all the nuances in what is included in a purchase contract and is not. So I'll give you an example. I sold a home recently in Seminole, and it was a large home and it had 2 laundry rooms, and there were 2 sets of washers and dryers that were in the home and available to purchase. The purchase contract that we used to have included washers and dryers, oven ranges, dishwashers, disposal, all of those things. The newer contract had excluded those items and left a blank space so you could write in any items that you wanted. So this would have been a spot where washer and dryer should have been written in. It was not written in. So the understanding of a seller is, if it wasn't written on the contract, then it doesn't go along with the sale. That was something that the buyer decided not to negotiate in the purchase contract. Well, when we came to close on the home and the buyer did their final walkthrough inspection, we had a problem because the washer and dryer had been packed and was being moved to the seller's new home. And that buyer and that buyer's agent was very upset and angry. And what ultimately happened there is that the buyer's agent ended up buying a new washer and dryer for the buyer because he had made an error. And when that's now the owner of that property came to sell that home a couple of years later, he ended up calling me because he knew that I understood the contract. And I've worked with that client now 3 times over the last few years in helping him buy and sell different homes. Details of an offer, like that's just one element of it, is what items are included. But all of the contract terms and conditions that we have to follow, from when is escrow delivered, when should the buyer have their loan commitment period, did we get the survey in time, do we have title commitment in time, is the lender processing the loan quickly enough. These are all things that if you understand the purchase contract, you can follow along and make sure that all of these things are being dealt with in a timely fashion. Because the last thing you want to do is, if you're a seller, and this just happened to a client of mine, I just went through a contract for him, and he lives in North Florida, so I'm able to represent an agent or a seller who is in Florida anywhere. I didn't represent him on this transaction because it was out of my area of specialty, but I did look over his contract, and the contract that he had executed had the buyer's financing period going past the day of closing. So right to the day of closing, if this buyer had an issue on their contract, they could cancel that purchase contract because their financing didn't go through. Now this owner would have packed up their home, they're ready to go to close, and now they've got a real problem on their hands. So understanding the contract, the timelines in the contract is extremely important. One thing that my clients come back to me time and time again is that there are always challenges. There's very few transactions that we have where it goes smoothly and everybody is happy. We have issues with appraisals, we have title defects, we have permits that have been left open, we have challenges with buyers financing, that maybe they took out a credit card prior to closing and then that throws their ratios off. These are all things that we now need to resolve those issues, calm people's nerves, and think outside of the box. So in essence, not all real estate agents are the same, and hiring the friend down the street who's a friend of a friend versus hiring a true professional could be the difference between closing or not closing. So any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. If you're looking to sell a home or purchase a home, please feel free to reach out to the Price Group. We would be more than happy to assist you with over 20 years of real estate experience in Pinellas County, and we have a staff of 7 licensed agents and 2 full-time administrative assistants to help us. Look forward to working with you. Take care.